Volvo is said to be a car forever. To check the high-profile thesis, we took the example of the XC70 off-road station wagon. Once upon a time, one of our colleagues wrote that a beautiful Swedish car Volvo, being a product of the funeral services, was carved from a solid Karelian birch and soaked in a composition of contraceptives. The car is so reliable, he wrote, comfortable and safe that, having bought it once, you cannot leave it until your own funeral. Of course, the colleague was prone to the grotesque, but, in fact, in many respects he still remains right. The third generation of the XC70 station wagon, although it appeared in 2007, is still quite relevant today. The Swedes have found a reliable niche for the XC70, appointing wealthy, emotionally balanced and rational people of mature age as an audience. The adults didn't mind. These do not burn the clutch for nothing, do not force rivers, do not blow up engines, and do not turn the suspension upside down. At the same time, each of them is disciplinedly serviced only by an authorized dealer using only original high-quality components. In fact, the entire secondary market rests on such people. Everyone dreams of buying a car from a mature owner. That is why, it seems to us, even a fairly used Volvo XC70 quite justifiably has a reputation for being an expensive, but high-quality and reliable car with a transparent operating history. At first glance, the station wagon is really woven from virtues: tenacious and, most importantly, comfortable independent suspension, powerful engines, respectable speaker, all-wheel drive transmission with front drive wheels and the ability to connect the rear axle using a Haldex coupling, roomy trunk, premium interior, and a significant 200mm ground clearance. It all looks safe and secure. And from below in a circle it is carefully sheathed with a shock-resistant plastic anti-gravel casing. Well, why not ideal? However, not all so simple. Experts do not advise taking the XC70 from the American and even the European market. Americans don't particularly follow the harsh European service regulations. Strict maintenance intervals and quality regular lubrication are for the poor, they say. Therefore, even with the ideal appearance of the car, there is a risk of running into serious repairs. Europeans are more disciplined, but it's rare for a hard-working German or Belgian to sell an expensive car after a short use for no good reason. And to get a Volvo diesel rolled to the ground by a zealous European is an unpleasant pleasure. Everyone was good with the 3.0-liter turbocharged T6 gasoline that was equipped with the station wagon. Elastic, unpretentious to our fuel, hardy, calmly takes care of 300,000 kilometers without repair and carries up to hundreds in 7.6 seconds. The only thing he does not like is saving on quality service and consumables. You will have to fork out for a timing belt replacement kit every 75,000 kilometers. And even more often is better, since a broken or jumping timing belt leads to valve damage. Sometimes it can even lead to the replacement of the head of the block or the entire power unit, which is tantamount to bankruptcy and complete default. However, D4 and D5 diesel units are significantly more economical and differ slightly from gasoline turbo engines in terms of service life and cost of maintenance. So our choice is still diesel. Do not think that even a very used XC70 will be her boyfriend and will not be able to surprise with some unpleasant wandering electrical malfunction. The electrical system of a car is complex. It can include more than 40 modules. That's why you can't fix it in the garage. Repair requires special branded equipment, and simply reading the error and erasing the codes often does not solve the problem. But problems with transmissions are rare. The 6-speed manual gearbox has not received much distribution, although it is brutally reliable. Oil is filled into it for the entire period of operation, and it does not need to be serviced. Another thing is the machine. This is a Japanese 6-speed Aisin, also reliable, but requiring an oil change every 60,000 kilometers. When used in normal modes, such a box is capable of serving more than 200,000 kilometers of run. Actually, like the Haldex clutch, which is responsible for connecting the all-wheel drive. Suspension rarely fails. Of course, broken roads reduce the resource of some of its elements, such as the upper supports of the front shock absorbers, silent blocks of the front levers, stabilizer struts. But in general, there will be no complaints about the suspension, again when using original components. But the steering is still occasionally naughty at high mileage. Leakage of the rack gland, play in the gear rack pair, play in the rods and tips are possible. It's pointless to even talk about the body. He is good. The XC70 is welded from solid steel. The parts are extremely impact resistant. Against corrosion, the body is treated to the conscience, including welds and hidden cavities. So what, you ask, are we recording the station wagon as the best of the best? We wouldn't be in a hurry. Structurally, the car is really good and almost devoid of weaknesses. However, the most important element in buying it in the secondary market will be a thorough diagnosis in a place specialized specifically for Volvo. Only then will the considerable cost of the car, which the seller will certainly demand for it, turn out to be really justified. So long. Some owners of the XC70 complain about the creaking of plastic interior panels at very low temperatures. We can only advise you to turn on the stove harder. In cars of recent years of production, electronic assistance often buggy. For example, sensors for tracking dead zones fail during rain. The whims of the adaptive cruise control system are also among the frequent ailments. Transmission. It should be remembered that the resource of the automatic transmission decreases due to the frequent use of the kickdown mode, simultaneous pressing of the gas and brake pedals while driving, frequent slippage at start or in winter. The Japanese Aizen does not like not only to carry heavy trailers, but also when they drag it, that is, they tow the XC70 at a speed of more than 40 km/h for a distance of more than 40 km. And of course, you should monitor the oil level in the box. Engine. One of the common breakdowns in gasoline engines is the incorrect operation of the camshaft phase shifter system. The malfunction makes itself felt by oil leaks, loss of dynamics, and the inclusion of the cheek engine. Diesel engines D4 and D5 are generally reliable and unpretentious. It can be argued that all the main sores associated with the fuel supply system, which diesel engines usually suffer from, are absent in this case. Electrician. Not every node can be replaced with a serviceable, second-hand one. The electrics from the outside often do not mate with the existing control units. Say mirrors, throttle body, or audio system. You have to buy only new nodes, the memory of which does not contain identification information. Suspension. The suspension is durable, but if you buy a car with adaptive shock absorbers, their serviceability should be carefully checked. One such shock absorber costs as a kit for a lower-class car. Often the rear suspension is accused of breakdowns and excessive softness.